You know what I do when I wake up? First thing I do is I go to my computer and then I start browsing all my internet news sources. Also, when I'm out and about, which I usually am, I don't actually have an office, I use my smartphone, which is in my pocket, to just browse all the news as it breaks. How do you get your news? I don't really use newspapers anymore. Recently, a freelance journalist was in town. His name is Harry Fear. He talked to us about reporting from Gaza and utilizing web tools available to him. Let's hear what he has to say.
My name is Harry Fear, and I'm here in the Gaza Strip. This is the closest I personally have got to any direct Israeli military presence in my time in the Strip.
So today here with me is Harry Fear. He's a documentary filmmaker that he went to Gaza alone and reporting on the ground from out of Gaza, the conditions of Palestinians in Gaza. So first I would like to congratulate you, Harry, because you played a role in shifting how normally storytelling has been told in the past, because normally it's the major Western media outlets that talks about what happens in Gaza and stuff like that. But then you play a role in terms that you report on the ground, and then I realized that you utilize a lot of social media and web, and you tell the story with greater impact. So can you share with us, how do you initially started with the web and then uploading stuff on YouTube and everything else?
Well, I mean, to me it was just a natural thing to do. I mean, I started off making videos in 2010, taught myself how to use the equipment, taught myself the principles, the style, the class, as much as I can get to doing it classily. And really just put it to practice doing what I think needs to be done for social purposes. YouTube is, for obvious technical reasons, the best video channel to use, and then you just choose the best technologies to match the situation under the circumstances. I mean, for example, when I'm filming, I tend to work with very small cameras. In a war zone, this tends to be quite useful, as you can imagine, and traveling around the world the same. So just the normal things in this respect.
And because previously I saw online that you use Indiegogo as a crowdfunding platform.
Well, I chose Indiegogo for the reason that it's, I think this may not be absolutely correct, but according to my research, it's the strongest crowdfunding website. Although it's in dollars and I'm a British citizen with pounds, it was still the best one to use. And I managed to raise the budget for the most recent trip to Gaza
in December,
in less than 8 days, which is really awesome. Let's put it this way. So this shows the power of these technologies to make this sort of thing happen. And for me, this is a really hopeful and heartwarming dynamic, actually.
Previously, the first time when you go, you didn't use any web platforms or crowdfunding platform to raise your funds. Do you use your own funds, or do you get the funding from your friends or people that you know?
Exactly. The first time that I went, privately funded friends, family members, and any savings that I had, and put it all on a credit card, basically. Yeah, I mean, the second time it was obvious that I'd be able to get support from the viewers to make it happen again, to make this whole work sustainable. And it's not exclusively sustainable. There are dozens of other journalists that work not in the same place, but around the world in the same way. And this is amazing. You know, if 1,000 people give me $1, this becomes a sustainable project.
And on your website, harryfear.co.uk, right?
Yeah.
You have this interactive Google map.
That's right.
Where you posted, where you documented certain events, and those events are critical moments, and then you were there.
Yeah.
So do you get any feedback from your audiences? How do they actually benefit it and with the interactive map?
For me, it was very important to geotag, geolocate what was going on for people to see, so that they can have more of a relationship with the specifics and the reality of the situation.
Exactly.
If you go to Google Maps, incidentally, you type in Gaza, most of the time it comes up no results found.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you actually find it on the map, you usually can't search for it. If you find it on the map and you compare what Gaza looks like to Israel, it's striking. It's striking. You see the economic disparity, you see the force on Gaza, suffocating the economy, and etc. And so for me it was important to show people how small Gaza is. Airstrike here, you know, killing here, this here, so people can have this relationship with it to make them feel in another way that they're there, using this technology that you refer to. In my work, I try to make people feel like they're there, the face, the voice of Palestinians as much as possible, ordinary Palestinians. And so I use as much technology as possible to facilitate making people feel like they're there. And the hope is that then they will do something to make the conflict stop.
And because you were there, and so is there any challenges in terms of, because you do a lot of stuff online, you upload your videos online and then you stream for several days, is there any challenges in terms of internet infrastructure or technology-wise? And if there isn't any, why is it that not more and more Palestinians, probably they are empowered with certain devices or just normal smart devices, that they can do their own citizen journalism?
This is a fantastic question, and this is one of the things that I'm working on at the moment. Not in a kind of imperialist way, but in the point of trying to communicate to Palestinians, working with them, what works for a Western audience, because many of them are imprisoned in Gaza. They don't know what works for a Western audience. They don't know what Western society needs to hear. And so it's a matter of trying to make that journalism that happens there more potent and more effective for the Western audience. There are various structural reasons. It's a third world country. English education is really not great. Education in general by a first world standard is not great. So there are various problems in this respect. But it's a matter of trying to make the best of this situation. Electricity and infrastructure, the electricity is pretty weak, but people can charge stuff at night and etc. You know, most people don't have an iPhone, obviously. Most people don't have access to electronics. So there are structural problems in this respect, but it's a matter of trying to get funding to make that kind of citizen journalism, as you say, more sustainable and impactful coming from Gaza. Because, you know, it's Palestinians that have the moral authority talking about what's going on, not me from Britain or an Israeli or whatever. It's Palestinians.
Do you feel like more people from foreign countries should try this out, since we have access to smart devices and then we know how to utilize it? So
this is one of the things that I do on the world tour, and I did in the UK tour last winter, is try and make people realize that going to Gaza is not only possible, but it's actually easy for someone like you or me. It's easy. And people, the barriers, the psychological barriers are either mythical or they are basically excuses not to go, in my experience of speaking to people. And, you know, look at this device. You know, you can make, I mean, no joke, you can make a documentary with the iPad, you know, on your leg. And in fact, TV adverts have been made with the iPhone 4S. The point is that, you know, I was saying to you before we started recording that if there was prevalent access to technology in Gaza, if it wasn't a third world entity, Israel wouldn't be able to do what it does to Gaza. Why? Because there'd be 1,000 people documenting it, and it would be seen halfway across the world in Washington, D.C. immediately on live stream and Ustream. And it's this structural problem that Palestinians are in with the third world status, Arabic speaking, not English speaking generally, etc., that Israel can take advantage of. So we have to try and combat that. And I always encourage people to go and to become eyewitnesses with their phone, with their camera, with their whatever, and do exactly what you say.
And I believe once before we end this interview, you have a guide on your website saying that how to enter Gaza and how to get out of Gaza.
People can see my videos at harryfear.tv and they can go to gazareport.com, and on gazareport.com is all of the stuff I do in Gaza, including a specific guide on how to go to Gaza, roughly how much it costs and etc. And for me it's so important to encourage people to go, because it's not as dangerous as people think outside of the wartime. Doesn't look like there's going to be another war in the next year, hopefully, all things being equal going forward. And it's a really important time to go and to push and make this conflict end.
Okay. Thank you, Harry. Thank you for your time. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you so much.
Because like Harry said, every one of us nowadays, we're empowered by our devices in our hands. Check out harryfear.co.uk. Here's some guidelines there to show you how. So this has been Cherish Dell. I'll talk to you again soon.